Hey everybody, Kim here with Little Biz Resources. Just trying to make sure that we are actually live. Says we are. See if there's sound. Yep, there is sound. Okay, so let's just jump straight into it, and I'll just share this later into the group. All right, so today we're going to talk about traditional business and how it's failing and why this means opportunity for you. Okay, so even before the pandemic started, I want you guys to understand that this is not a current issue. And actually, let me have this on here twice, so I'm going to close that one. This is not a current issue, right? So in July of 2019, I distinctly remember my sister and I, so Chrissy, my sister, and I, we were talking and we were like, man, have you noticed that you can't get like a lot of stuff in the store? And even through Christmas, and of course that might be consistent with, overseas issues and stuff like that. I don't know. The timeline's a little sketchy. But in July, we had a discussion about this and how we said that inventory was minimal at best. And there had already been discussions for those of you who know what white label is, that's for people who manufacture their own products, usually overseas. And then you bring them over and stick them in a warehouse somewhere and sell them, usually on Amazon. That's like the most popular white label method right now, even though that is changing. And we talked about that because the prices were changing. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But so all of these changes occurred pre-pandemic. And so it kind of felt like to us, we're like, oh my gosh, it's like building and building and building. It feels like the economy is about to just fall out. Simply because there's no inventory. People were working on really low margins of profit or no profit at all. I mean, the traditional business model was starting to fail, right? You open a store, you put your product in it, people come and buy it, and you're getting your barely minimal profits. This was causing a problem. So we made that note in 2019. That was before the pandemic. Now, shipping has always been a problem. Okay, I've been shipping for over 10 years now for e-commerce. It has always been a problem. And the USPS, if for those who don't know, just search up. Oh my gosh, I've been around my daughter a little too much. Search up. Just go search for articles on USPS asking for money. Asking for different, because they're constantly arguing for different methods to increase their support, whether it's monetarily or whether, hey, we want to go to 7 days a week, we want to go to 5 days a week, whatever it is, because they've always been losing money. So their prices keep going up and up and up, and challenges with shipping have always existed. Prices overseas had increased sharply. By 2019, you could buy products handmade in the US cheaper than you could in China. Okay, not everything, but some things. And that was a huge change in just a very short period of time. And the biggest reason why was because of wages. In China, they had traditionally, historically, always paid really, really bad wages, especially in their remote areas. And there was a demand for better pay. And that caused prices to increase as people were like, hey, we're not going to work if we don't get paid. Now, I don't know how well that goes over in China, but apparently it went over well enough. Prices did increase. How did I get off of this? All right. Now, everyone now blames the pandemic, but as I just showed you, these issues have been a problem since before the pandemic. Hold on just a second. That's the problem with going live. You choke and then that's it. Sorry, I thought I was done. My asthma's getting really bad because I'm coming up to the end of my medication. So anyway, almost time for the shot next week. All right, so every possible business failure right now is blamed on the pandemic and a lack of workers. I was joking about this in one of the groups that I'm in. They're like, what do you say when a customer comes to you? And we were talking about search engine optimization and how you can't rank a site overnight. Now, I've done it, and I've done it recently, but we joke about how that's like almost impossible. And it's almost impossible to get it show up in the top 100 immediately unless it's a really low level keyword. In fact, we found that out with our site on accident. So the important thing to consider, though, is that what is your excuse, right? And that's what they said. Okay, well, what is your excuse when somebody goes, hey, you didn't rake me overnight? And I'm like, I blame the pandemic. Duh, everybody does. And it was a joke. But that's pretty much what everybody's saying. I mean, look at the news articles. A lack of workers is causing... No, it's not a lack of workers. Our system, our entire business system has been on the brink of crisis for decades. Decades. Okay? We've had labor issues. First of all, when we're putting all of our jobs overseas, what do we expect? Right? But we can't keep them all within the States because our labor costs are too high. Right? So we've got these business decisions that we have to make, and we have to decide, is it something that, hey, we want to be able to sell more and make more money so we can go pay other people less, which is fine in their country, right? A lot of people don't realize this, is that just because somebody's making less money than you are doesn't mean that they are living worse off, right? Because let's take the Philippines as an example. I don't know the cost of living there, but what I do know is that if somebody's making like $1,000 a month there, that's pretty good pay. So if you have a two income household and they're each making $1,000 a month, they're living like, moderately, supposedly. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what I was told. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. So for them, $1,000, $1,000 a month goes a long ways, whereas here, not so much. Right? And that's just the cost of living. That's the same thing within the United States, depending on where you're living. So this is, our labor issues have always plagued us, where we've, shipped massive jobs off overseas. Now, not me personally, but plenty of businesses have. And that's just a business decision that they've done to keep costs down so people will keep buying. And you're like, well, Kim, that makes perfectly good sense. Or who cares? Who cares about profits? That's the balance, right? The balance that everybody has. And manufacturing issues. We have some manufacturing issues. This is an example I was talking about with my sister. I said, tungsten is it's a mined, I guess a mineral. It's a combination of minerals that make tungsten, but it's an ore that, I don't know. Anyway, it's mined, right? So they mine it. And here in the United States, it's a single source. Right? There's one guy that owns a couple of mines, and he's the single source. Everybody else has either shut down their mines or they're pretty much non-existent. There might be a little tiny ones that contribute to something, but he works with the government. I'm sure it's a strategic metal, so there's restrictions around it and everything else. But we import the majority of our tungsten from China, or at least we did. We might still, I don't know. I haven't kept up with it. I checked it a couple of years ago, and that's where we were at. So if we're getting our tungsten from another country, and all of a sudden we can't get it anymore, that's a challenge. Now, tungsten is used to harden metal, I believe. You can Google this. I don't have to tell you that. So if you're interested in tungsten, just read about it. But the whole point is that if you're like, hey, that's in manufacturing, right? So tungsten itself is a resource used in manufacturing. If you're getting the resource and you're getting the manufacturing done in another country that can no longer ship to you, you're going to have problems, right? That's the supply chain issues. That's just the way we've always been like this. We've always had challenges like this. This is not new, right? This is not new. What is new was that we actually pulled the trigger on shutting down borders and shutting down stuff in 2020. And we're still having challenges because why? Well, think about this. And toilet paper is a really good example. So toilet paper, when they manufacture toilet paper, they basically manufacture enough for the demand at the time, right? So they have their systems. So let's say you have a company, they're going to, get the trees, put it into paper, blah, blah, blah. Well, a company is going to have, one person that's already there, or maybe two people that work there, and they're going to be running 24/7 already, or whatever their hours are, their maximum hours are. They're working at the maximum capacity for very little profit. They can't jump their prices because that's going to hurt the economy. It's kind of like a critical thing. They did. Everybody jumped their prices. But, they can't really increase their prices enough to cover the costs of increasing so much more. So they've got this balancing act to do to try to make it so they're not putting this huge burden down the line. And it's because they're already on the brink, right? They're already on the brink. They're maxed out. There is no room for growth. Now, I don't know what a good substitute for toilet paper is, right? I mean, I'm sure plenty of people can come up with ideas. In my mind, they all epically fail. I like toilet paper. I like flushing toilets. So I don't want to go back to the 1800s or whatever. I don't want to do any of that. I like having modern technology when it comes to bathrooms. So I don't know what the option is for that. I don't know if there is room for improvement on that. I'm sure there is, and somebody in that industry, if that's you, might be able to find a solution. That's what we're going to be kind of leading towards here. Now in 2017, I wanted to point this out because this is another element that's in, everybody's blaming the pandemic, but there are other elements, right? So 2017 was well before the pandemic. EpiPen lawsuit was filed. Now, this was well after I found out about, because EpiPen, I don't know if you guys remember this, but EpiPen back in, a couple years before this, they had kept jumping their prices up and up and up and up because they had a patent on it. And it was coming up for expiration. So that means that generics could come out. And so they decided they wanted to maximize their profits. Now, of course, they have all these excuses why. Plenty of videos out there explaining why those excuses are idiotic. So I don't let you do your own research if you want to do that. But it came down to politics and money, really money, but politics helped cover that up. And so politics and money are also playing a role, and this has been in existence since pre-pandemic. If we go into the health industry has been shifting forever. I mean, this has been my entire life. I've gone back and forth. I remember with the whole HMO versus PPO discussions. And now it just depends on what state you're in, if you still have those or not. But it's like everything has been screaming, hey, we're on the brink of crisis. It's been like this for decades. So what I've been saying for over 10 years now is that physical brick and mortar businesses, pretty much any business, needs to have an online presence. You have to. It's just the way it is, right? And you need to have online marketing strategies. And I want you to think about this. If you are a bakery, right? You're a bakery and we get a new strain or whatever, because gosh, every time we turn around, there's like a new strain of the pandemic right now, right? So let's say we get a new strain out there and you are a bakery and then your state goes, okay, we're closing everybody down for 2 weeks again. Now, this didn't work the first time, so I don't know why they would do it again. But let's just say they do that. How are you going to communicate with your customers, right? How are you going to communicate with them? How are you going to work with them? There's going to be rules for shutdown. I know a lot of states said basically you couldn't do business at all, which was really silly. But this time it would go differently, right? They go, okay, well, you're going to adapt and follow these guidelines in order to open or in order to be functioning, right? So maybe you can't open your physical doors. Perhaps you could do delivery, or perhaps people could pick up. These are things, but how are you going to communicate with them? You're not going to call them up one by one, right? You're not going to call them up and do you have their phone numbers to be able to do that? Probably not. This is where an online presence and online marketing strategies are critical, even for a physical brick and mortar business that doesn't normally sell online. Right now, I think a bakery should be selling online anyway, because you could have people pre-order and you can get more sales and you can plan better when you do that. But I understand that's a big leap from the traditional, I put out my baked goods and whatever doesn't sell, the workers eat in the back afterwards or whatever. I don't even know how they do it anymore. Now, for some reason, many traditional businesses like bakeries have resisted getting online. I'll tell you what, I'm working with, my sister has a friend who has a auto repair business. They kind of basically just started it not that long ago, even though they've been doing it for years. It's like more official. And one of the first things they want to do is get online, right? So we set them up with a website. We're getting them into Google My Business. We're getting some traction for them. It's taking forever because that's what happens. But I can tell immediately, just because of getting online. Now, there's really nothing you can do on the website. It's just information. It points them all back to calling because that's the system they have in place. Well, they're getting phone calls through Google My Business. They're getting phone calls through the website. They're getting, people looking for directions. This you have to be online, right? If somebody goes on, that's what they're going to do. They're going to pick up their phone and they're going to go, oh, where's the nearest bakery? And that's going to pop up and it's not going to have you because you're not in Google My Business. And I can't tell you how many times this happens when I'm looking for antique shops. My sister and I are like, yeah, we're going to hit every antique shop between here and Southern California. And we're like, there are none. And as we're driving through every city, we're like, oh, there's one. And none of them show up on Google My Business. Right? And we're like, man, I got to get business cards and stop at every single one of these places and say, look, you need to do this. Look at my video, which I haven't done yet, but it's really super easy. So go to business.google.com and put your business online. Now, I feel like, this is a Kim opinion, by the way, that because of this resistance, this is where you have people that say the internet's a fad. Right. Just like brushing your teeth is a fad. It's not, right? It's not a fad. And people think it is for whatever reason. It's not. The internet is a critical resource for us. It is not going away. But I think that this resistance from traditional businesses, think about supply and demand. If there is not enough demand, you're not going to increase your supply, right? So places like AT&T and whatever Time Warner turned into now, because that's what I used to have. It's horrible, but whatever. You've got all of these different, I think it's called Charter now, which was its own company and they merged or something. You can Google that too. So you've got all of these different technological companies who, again, they've had to lower their prices to, reach more people and everything else. And as costs come down, they can open it up more. But there has not been enough demand to create a supply that met the requirements for 2020, right? I mean, 2020 really highlighted these gaps in our technology, in our customer service, in our capability. And I got to say, I'm surprised companies still want to have people in a physical location, which I get sometimes. The guy who's making toilet paper, he has no choice. He has to have people physically there. I get that, right? And I also get the fact that technology is a problem. And when I call up to make an appointment at a doctor's office, it sends me to somebody who's working from home. That's great. But oh my gosh, I don't know what's wrong. I can never hear them. It sounds like they are a billion miles away, but I know they're in the same state. And I'm going, what is going on with technology? So I get that companies still want to have people in a physical location because they want oversight. It's easier to communicate when you can just walk into somebody's office, show them the paper and say, hey, what's up with this? Instead of hop on Zoom and show it to them. I mean, I guess you can still do that in an office. And they have plenty of other excuses for control of their employees or for whatever reason, right? Like I said, some places you have to have physical presence. So I get that. But I have to ask this. Why can you not buy anything and everything you need from your local Walmart online and either pick it up or have it shipped? Now, I get they don't carry everything, but I'll give you an example. When during the pandemic, they're pushing you online to buy, right? What did Walmart do? Walmart said, sorry, our staple items like toilet paper, milk, they had like a whole list of stuff you could not buy online. Why? Well, we can't keep that inventory updated. Really? I mean, that's how bad your technology is. You're a freaking marketplace, which I'm going to complain about in a minute again. But why can't you do that, right? And then think about Amazon. Like I went on Amazon the other day and I was looking for something I found on eBay. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if I can get it on Amazon and get 2-day shipping instead. Yes, I'm a 2-day shipping person, but I needed it faster. And so I went on and I went to Amazon and I looked for it and it said, it was like $18. And I'm like, why is it $7 on eBay and $18 on Amazon? I still don't know why, because the fees on eBay are just as ridiculous as Amazon. But I'm going, man, it's weird that that everything on Amazon is over $10. Now, I'll tell you, as a seller on Amazon, that's because the costs are so high, especially if you're doing FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon. You cannot do it. It's actually at $15. If you're under $15, you're probably not making much of a profit. So unless you're getting product for fell off a truck prices, which means stolen, and that's a joke, by the way, basically really cheap. If you're not getting it really cheap, then you're not making any profit on Amazon if you're under $15. So I learned that pretty much the hard way, and it might even be closer to 20 now, but I'm at 20 on most of mine. So now businesses are resistant to change, and I don't get this, right? I get that there's probably costs involved and everything else, and the fact that nobody can do their jobs now, but Walmart is a marketplace now. So it's a marketplace. You should be able to buy anything you need online. And yet you can't. And I put an example on here, charbread, which is not spelled correctly because I couldn't find the little umlaut thing on my keyboard because it's not there. But I didn't know the code for it. But this is gluten-free bread. Now, my daughter and I, we are allergic to wheat. So we eat gluten-free because most gluten-free foods don't have wheat. Char is a gluten-free and a wheat-free bread. So we can eat that, and I cannot find it in stores. My sister was helping me watch online to see what the inventory levels were and stuff. And our local Walmart said they had like 10 of them or whatever. And I'm like, they don't. There's none on their shelves in that particular, it's the white bread, right? Because they had some other flavor. And I was like, oh, it's so gross. Of course, gluten-free bread is gross, period, but whatever. So I'm like, okay, I want to get the bread, but it's not there. So let's go online and watch their inventory. All of a sudden it went away. It wasn't on Walmart at all. I don't know if it's going to come or if it's going to go. However, it reminded me of the traditional business practice because it's a physical location. All of these big brick and mortar stores, they have what they call shelf space, right? Now, that sounds normal, but what it is you buy shelf space as a brand or something, right? So Char most likely contracts with Walmart to put so much bread on their shelves. They're responsible for making sure that they get that filled, get enough filled there and everything else. Well, Walmart has this nasty habit of creating their own, they put their own brand. They figure out what's selling well. Notice that Amazon does the same thing, by the way. They figure out what's selling well, and then they make their own brand of it. Well, they've got all the selling data, so they know this, right? So Walmart did this with, I saw them do this. I don't know for a fact this is what happened, but I suspect this is what happened with macaroni and cheese. Now, I still, of course, have to have gluten-free macaroni and cheese, which is why I paid attention to it, because Walmart does have the Great Value has gluten-free mac and cheese. But what's that other brand? It's the big brand of mac and cheese. Kraft mac and cheese, right? So they had a huge shelf of people or of product, right? Then the people that were there, product that was there just started dwindling down smaller and smaller and smaller. And then eventually their space was like, one box wide. And I'm going, what on earth? And then all of a sudden they brought in a bunch of Great Value because they used to only have gluten-free at the store we ran. And I'm going, see, this is what I mean. Is it Walmart doing it? It has to be, right? Why would you not keep shelf space for a product that sells so well? Char bread undoubtedly sells really well. So I don't know if it's Char, if it's logistics, whatever it is, if the cost is too high, all of a sudden it's not being brought in. So the only way I could buy it, thankfully, was through their actual store online. But not a lot of brands offer that, right? And if they do, they're probably, Amazon is the next one. They're basically 100% online. You can't walk into an Amazon warehouse and shop, right? I mean, that would be interesting, probably dangerous, but interesting. But it's still a nightmare to get product. And that's in part because the requirements for sellers are stupid. So if you sell online as a seller and you sell other places, Amazon has a way of tracking that. And they're like, wait, if you have product over here and you don't have all of your product with us, or if you run out of product here and you're selling it somewhere else, they don't like that. They penalize your seller listings. In fact, there's like lots of complaints and lawsuits and stuff because of this. Now, I don't know how much of that is true other than I have seen it happen where if you don't provide them with pretty much all of your inventory and keep them stocked up, they're going to penalize your listings. And I get it. Yeah, you're not reliable or whatever their excuse is, but it's like, look, I'm sorry, you screwed me over during the pandemic. Specifically, they kept all of my product, wouldn't send it back to me because of logistics problems, and then wouldn't sell it, even though there was like nothing for sale because they didn't have anything. So I still don't understand what happened there, but whatever. So Amazon requirements make it difficult for sellers to either comply or to be found in other places. So this is another challenge for sellers, right? Now, this is not exclusive to online businesses. I was in the hospital not too long ago and I had to get an x-ray, and the x-ray technician was telling me that their x-ray machine kept going down and they kept having to have somebody come out and work on it. And she said before the pandemic, she could get a tech worker out there and it would be fixed the first time. She's like, they've been out 3 or 4 times already for the exact same issue and it keeps breaking. And she's like, I don't understand why. Right? She's like, what happened between then and now? That either experience level went down or something else. Keeping in mind that every industry, and the point of that was to show you that every industry is getting hit hard with challenges, right? They're getting hit hard with people who don't know their job. They don't know how to do anything. And these are permanent changes. Online's not going away. People are still going to want to work from home, et cetera, right? So it's a great time to get online. All of these pain points are an opportunity for you. If you're willing to offer a little bit of customer service, that alone is going to set you apart from a lot of companies like Walmart. I'm sorry, when I was in there last time, I couldn't find an employee to help me. I needed to get sandpaper. It's a $4 item. It is locked in a freaking cabinet. I don't know why. Apparently sandpaper is a hot commodity on the black market. I don't know. So I go to find somebody with a key and there's nobody at the 2 stations closest by, especially the one that it belongs in. So I walk all the way down to the beauty section. She supposedly calls somebody and an hour later I'm walking out without sandpaper because nobody ever showed up. What is wrong with that, Walmart? You can't even do customer service in your store at all. You're going to lock crap up. Might as well have people steal it. You're not selling it. Anyway, there is a huge demand in almost every industry for people willing to excel. And by excel, I mean just do something, right? I mean, all they had to do is show up and they would have sold something to me. And by the way, my item was a $4 item, but there were items in that cabinet that were $1,000 or more. What if somebody was buying one of those? Walmart would have lost out on quite a bit. They probably lose out on quite a bit of money, and they don't care. At least they didn't seem to care at that one. But this demand for people to excel is an opportunity. If you want to be an entrepreneur, it has never been a better time to get started. And I know people say that all the time, and it may improve. But this is the best time since the last time it was the best time, because you cannot get better technology 10 years ago, right? You can't get better or less skill requirements 10 years ago, right? So now you can jump into things just having enough to be able to help somebody come to the next level. Just don't follow the dinosaur tactics, like not having people unlock the stupid thing. But there are plenty of ways to start your own business. So let's give you a couple of ideas while we're talking about this. So e-commerce, we've talked about drop shipping galore. I like drop shipping. I don't have a training on it right now. The one that we had recommended, Kibo Code, is closed down. But drop shipping is a really good model because, and here's why, I want you to understand this, is that there are plenty of people who have product that they can't get in front of people, right? Think about the people who are on Amazon and not following the rules and not getting shown, their product's not getting sold. So if you have a way to put it on your store and get it in front of people and you can sell it for somebody else, you get a commission. It's basic. Drop shipping is basically selling somebody else's product for a commission. You get to set it, but that's what you're doing, right? It's your commission, because you set the price between what you buy it for and what you sell it for. Print on demand. Print on demand is when you are creating a product. We have an entire video series on this. There's a link in the description. You can easily get started with print on demand, and you just design something and you go through a print on demand company, and it's kind of like a hybrid model between white label and drop shipping, right? So you're still creating your own products. Somebody else is still making them and sending them to the customer though. You can resell products. You know, people do this all the time where they buy products and they resell them somewhere. It's a great way to make money. Then, of course, there's white label where you have your own products manufactured. That's a little bit tougher to get into right now. And I didn't put on here, you can actually manufacture your own products too, right? Handmade products, just manufactured products in general. That's what I do. I don't actually have a white label. I have where I manufacture my own products. All right, affiliate marketing is another one that is good. It's a lot like, if you think about drop shipping is where you're selling the product from your company. Affiliate marketing, you're promoting somebody else's product. So you can do it in e-commerce, you can do it in anything, but you're promoting other people's products and earning a referral commission. So when I recommend a course as an example and you purchase through my link, then I get an affiliate commission. That's just part of the marketing. That's like a marketing expense. It's like paying a salesperson, right? So I would be the salesperson as far as getting in front of people. And to be honest, it is cheaper to have affiliates promote to people than it is to actually pay for marketing. So that's why people do it, right? It's the word of mouth concept. There are a lot of different options in affiliate marketing. You got physical products, digital products, high ticket, etc. I mean, plenty of options. Now, I like high ticket and recurring, so like software, but I promote anything I think is useful to others. And that's because if it's useful to you and it can benefit you, it can help save your time or whatever, then I feel it's a value and it's something that I would recommend. So I don't recommend everything, but I do recommend things that I actually have used and tested or I think are really good. Like there's a course coming up that teaches people how to sell on Amazon. I already have a course that teaches me how to sell on Amazon. I paid $5,000 for it. This course is less than $5,000 and teaches the same thing. I'm not going to buy the course because I already have a course, but because I know a lot of people don't have $5,000, they might have $3,500 to go into this course instead. And so unfortunately, yes, these courses are that expensive because there's that much information you need to know. And it's still cheaper than some college courses. You don't actually need to offer customer service under affiliate marketing, because I'd mentioned if you are good at customer service or if you're even willing to do customer service. Because in affiliate marketing, you could just promote a product on a blog or a video or something like that and then just, whatever. But people are going to try to ask you questions. And if you can answer their questions, they're going to be more likely to make the purchase through you than somebody else. So that's why if you can connect with your audience authentically, then you're going to make more money than if you don't connect with them. Now, services. There are 9 services that we put together. I put together here on there's a link in the description. You can start selling online within 24 hours. And I actually have more that are coming now. So it was 9, and I think I'm up to like 14 or 15 now. But we're going to start with these 9, right? So it's selling apps, of course, using software, rewards, loyalty programs, using software, creating ebooks and reports using software. You can see a theme here, right? Funnel designer using software, copywriting, definitely using software, local SEO, which is search engine optimization. And yeah, that doesn't have to use software, but it can. And actually I use software for my SEO stuff to help me with that, right? Then video creation, you kind of have to use software on that one. Email marketing, again, software, and messenger marketing. And yes, you guessed it, using software. So these are all ways that you're like, hey, I don't know anything about creating ebooks. Yeah, well, that's why I put it in 24 hours or less, is because you can learn any one of these within 24 hours, at least enough to be able to offer the service, to sell the service, and to be able to complete the project. Now you can do your own digital products. Now we talked about manufacturing, and we've talked about it a lot, right? About how I manufacture products. You can do the same, blah, blah, blah. But you can focus, instead on manufacturing a physical product, you can manufacture a digital product, right? That's a lot less overhead. In fact, it's pretty much none if you want it to be. So you can do things like create and sell your own ebooks. Now I separated that out from the rest of them because there is a specific course on selling ebooks, like Kindle ebooks and stuff. And that one, there's a link in the description for all different kinds of training if you're interested. You can create your own digital course. So like if you think about all these courses that are out there, if you've ever taken a course and gone, oh, I could have done this course better, then do it, right? Create the course, hop into Groove, hop into ClickBank, wherever, and try to get other affiliates to promote your course. You could do a paid weekly newsletter. You can do memberships. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can create your own digital product. Now, think about all the industries lacking knowledge and skills right now. We talked about that technician, right? What if you knew you're like, hey, yeah, I was a technician. I was really good at it. I know about 500 tips that people that in that industry wouldn't know because it just kind of got lost, right? Or nobody ever really thinks about it or something. Right? Then that's a really good opportunity for you to create something. Now, I don't know how many x-ray technicians or x-ray, I don't even know what they would be called. What are the technicians on the x-ray machine? Yeah, I don't know how many of those people there are or how many of them are willing to pay. So you'd have to do some research if you want to do that, but create it. If it's something that's not going to take you very long, create it and put it out there and see if it's something that people are looking for. But if you ever thought, oh my gosh, I could do that better, right? That's an opportunity. I think about that all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could totally change their entire system. What was it? We were making fun of somebody's website the other day. It wasn't a specific person. It was a big company. Oh, Joanne, which was Joanne's Fabrics, but it's Joanne's now. Their site is horrible. It's horrible. I mean, they keep trying to improve it, and then for a little bit it works, and then it just breaks again. And I'm like, man, they need a new site. I'm like, they need some better resources. Lowe's is another example. We went in to buy a fridge a couple years ago. I do not think this has changed, by the way. And they're like, well, and I went and looked online and I said, okay, they have 5 in stock. The odds of them selling those 5 by the time we get there are like pretty low. I mean, it's a specific fridge. And so we went in and they're like, oh, we don't have any of those. And I'm like, but it says you have 5 online. And I'm like, oh, well, online doesn't really talk to our inventory. And I'm like, then why have an inventory show up at all? And I'm like, and why does it not talk to your inventory? Well, we have 2 different software programs and it's saying that we could have 5. I'm like, this is stupid. I understand that people on the floor have no idea how it works, but I should be able to go into a store if it says they have 5 and buy one, right? I mean, that's just simple math. So yeah, if you can create something that others can use or others can improve on, then that's something that is needed, right? And just because there's another book out there or another video out there about it doesn't mean that your information is any less in demand. I mean, I have taken a print-on-demand course before, and I went through it and I said, oh my gosh, I could have completely built this course and put more information in it. So I did, and I gave it away for free instead of $1,000 like that one was, because it was stupid that they were charging $1,000 for that information. At least that's what I thought. So that's what I did. Of course, nobody does it. Still, nobody takes money for free stuff. All right, so there's links to additional resources in the description. And if you're in e-commerce, you can sign up for our marketplace. We do have a small glitch with the payment processor, but if you sign up, you can start getting started with the other miscellaneous things. And hopefully I'll see it come in because we're still connecting everything. But yeah, feel free to go to merchlit.com and sign up there if you're interested. You can join our Facebook group. That link is in the description as well. And then for now, I'm still going to stay live for a little bit longer because we changed Merchlet a little bit. So we'll talk more about Merchlet next week or maybe in the Facebook group. But anyway, I don't see any questions, and I am already quite a bit into this. I could rant on this stuff forever. Now is a really great time to get involved. So, if you guys do have questions, you can pop them in later. You can pop them in the Facebook group. Or, of course, if you know how to reach out to me, reach out to me. And thanks for listening.